Hi everyone. I'm so excited for our chapter book today. I should call it Novel in Verse. And I hope you all remember Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. I love Sharon Creech. And a lot of students are really discovering how much they love novels in verse because they are poems. There's lots of white space, but they read like a book. They seem to go by quickly. Some people love the poetry sound of them, yet it tells a story. And so this is the companion. Hate That Cat and Love That Dog go together. If you remember Jack, his teacher wanted him to write poetry and he said, "This is stupid and I'm not a poet." And we discovered that Jack really is a poet and he sure can tell a story and describe, and he has a way with words. And I really believe there's a poet inside of all of us. And so we discovered in Love That Dog why he was saying, why he didn't want to write about his dog in particular. I don't want to spoil that in case you haven't read that one, but that's one of my other read alouds. And remember, you can take the AR quiz on it when you return, and that's an extra bonus. Most importantly, I hope you enjoyed it or you enjoyed this. Hate That Cat by Sharon Creech. So without further ado, let's get started. Hate That Cat. There is a dedication at the front of it, and it says, "For all you cat lovers out there, and all you cat haters too." With special thanks to Walter Dean Myers, Christopher Myers, Joanne Kotler, Karen Nagel, and Allison Day. Remember, Walter Dean Myers is a famous author and poet. And Jack ended up loving Walter Dean Myers' work, and there was something special involving that author and their school, if you remember that book. So I wonder why he's got that dedicated. Sharon Creech dedicates this to Walter Dean Myers for this book. And it says, "And to all the poets and Mr. and Miss Stechberries who inspire students every day." All righty, first page says, Jack, room 204, Miss Stechberry, September 12th. "I hate that cat like a dog hates a rat." I said, "I hate that cat like a dog hates a rat. Hate to see it in the morning, hate to see that fat black cat." Whoa, Jack certainly learned how to rhyme, hasn't he? He hates that flat black cat. I wonder why. Wonder what's going on, if there's a backstory there that we need to find out about or should know about. September 13th. "Sorry, I didn't know you like cats. Didn't know you have one." Oh, maybe Miss Stitchberry has a cat. Maybe she didn't like that journal entry. What he's written. September 14th. "More poetry? You probably think we will remember what we learned last year, right? Remember all the poetry terms and all the poetry devices. Now he learned he was a poet, so he's bringing up last year. What if we don't remember? What if our brain shrunk? What if it's too hard? But I am glad you're my teacher again. I hope you will keep moving up a grade every year along with me." Whoa, so he gets to have the same teacher the second year. Pretty cool, I think. "You understand my brain." Oh, that's a compliment to the teacher. I think it means that Miss Stitchberry knows how to get the best out of him and understands how he thinks and best learns. Those are my thoughts, at least. September 19th. "No, I can't write any more about my dog Sky." Remember Sky from the other book? "Maybe all of the words about Sky flew out of my head last year. I think about him all the time and I see him in my mind, and some of his yellow fur is still on my yellow chair, and sometimes I think I hear him hum hum, that sound he made when he was happy. But no, I can't write about Sky anymore. Maybe I could write about a cat, a mean cat. A crazy, mean, fat, black cat. Although my Uncle Bill, who is a teacher in a college, said those words I wrote about Sky were not poems." What? "He said they were just words coming out of my head and that a poem has to rhyme." Oh, baloney. We all hopefully have learned that by now. And I remember I used to teach poetry when I taught high school. Not that I'm an expert in poetry by any means. I think we're all poets. And poems, I hope number one thing we learn right off the bat is they do not have to rhyme. What does his Uncle Bill know? Not much, that's for sure. They do not have to rhyme. But back to our book, our novel in verse book. He said that a poem has to rhyme and have regular meter and symbols and metaphors and onomato something and allitter something. He means alliteration and onomatopoeia. All right, onomatopoeia are words that sound like their meanings, like buzz, drum. So kind of sound words, buzz, drum, anything that's a crack sound word like that is onomatopoeia. Alliteration is when you have consonants rhyming, like picked a parrot from the parade. We're repeating the P sounds, or kicked a kettle in a king's kerchief, if I can take that from Dr. Seuss. Back to our story. And I wanted to punch him. Oh my goodness. You wanted to punch his Uncle Bill? Glad he didn't. September 21st. Another thing Uncle Bill said was that my lines should be longer, like in real writing. But here's what happens when I try to make them longer. The page is too wide and the words get all mumbled jumbled, and it makes my eyes hurt, all that white space, the edge of the page so far away, and in order to get all the words down that are coming out of my head, I have to forget the commas and periods, or I have to go back and stick them in all over the place like this, which looks, if you ask me, stupid, but if you write short lines, a person knows where to breathe, short or long, and I hate to read those long lines, and I don't want to write them either. Whew. September 26th. I wish you would tell my Uncle Bill all those things you said today about our own rhymes and our own images, bouncing around in our words and making them poems. And yes, I understand that if I am ever the President of the United States, I might be expected to write very, very long lines, but in the meantime, I can make my lines short if I want to. I understand what his Uncle Bill means, that when you're writing a paper, sometimes you have to be descriptive and you learn how to string sentences together in the right way. If you're writing a composition, but he's writing poetry, and sometimes it helps to write short lines. But even if you told my Uncle Bill all that stuff, I guess, like I just explained to you, the viewer, he wouldn't believe you. He likes to argue. My mother likes my short lines. She runs her fingers down them and then taps her lips once, twice. And I think I understood what you said about onomata something and allitter something. Remember onomatopoeia and alliteration? Not having to be in a poem, and how sometimes they enrich a poem, but sometimes they can also make a poem sound purple. Purple. October 3. Okay. I will learn how to spell alliteration. There's alliteration and onomatopoeia. I was just thinking I need to show you how to spell those words and hold up an example. Onomatopoeia sound words like crack, drum, bang, buzz, alliteration, kick the kettle in a king's kerchief, or pick a purple parrot in the parade. Maybe that's why he said purple. It has two P's in it. Right? Okay, enough lessons. And I will practice them just in case I ever need them to enrich something. Ready? I can't do it. Brain frozen. First, you need to have something to write about. You can't just alliterate and onomatopoeiate all over the place, can you? October 10th. I felt like there were feathers in my brain when you brought out those objects and we practiced doing alliteration on them with the purple pickle and the polished pencil and the chocolate chalk. Those are good examples. But the pickle was not purple and the pencil was not polished and the chalk was not chocolate. My Uncle Bill would probably say we were wrong. We are wrong, even though it is fun to imagine a purple pickle, a polished pencil, and chocolate chalk. October 12th. Something I'm wondering, if you cannot hear, do words have no sounds in your head? Do you see a silent movie? And notice how he's written a silent movie. He's thinking about things. October 16th. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow. Remember that poem from the first book? The wheelbarrow poem again. Did you forget we read it last year? Okay, here's one. So much depends upon a creeping cat crouched in the tree beside the yellow bus stop. I bet you're going to ask me, why does so much depend upon a creeping cat, right? Remember, the wheelbarrow guy didn't say why so much depended upon the red wheelbarrow and those white chickens. Sometimes the poet's not going to explain it. Maybe we're just going to have to figure it out on our own or figure out what it means to us, which might be different than what it means to the poet. That's why I love poetry. Poems can mean different things to different people, and they don't have to rhyme. October 17th, onomatopoeia made my ears frizzle today. All that buzz, 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 and pop, pop, those are examples, and drip, and tinkle, and trickle. The sounds are still buzzing and popping in my head. And the bells, bells, bells in that poem you read by Mr. Poe. Is he alive? Edgar Allan Poe died about 200 years ago. You'll learn that in school, everyone, if you haven't already. You'll learn about Edgar Allan Poe and his scary poems and his scary stories. All those bells, 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 and those tinkling and jingling. Oh, and swinging and ringing and rhyming and chiming and clanging and clashing and tolling and rolling. All those bells, 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 and that tintinnabulation. What a word, tintinnabulation. I only understand about half the words in that poem, but like you said, sometimes that is okay, because we felt all those bells and we heard all those bells crazily ringing in their tintinnabulation. But I bet my Uncle Bill wouldn't like that, like Mr. Poe's bell poem. My Uncle Bill would probably say that Mr. Poe repeats himself too much and he needs to find a synonym for bells, but I don't care. I love all those bells, bells, bells. I thought of some more onomatopoeia words. Gurgle, burble, wiggle. Not sure about wiggle. Are those right? Wiggle doesn't make a sound. Gurgle and burble do. And what about purr, purr, purr? That's a sound word where it sounds like it's meaning. A cat's purr. And did your cat really have kittens? I don't really like creepy cats. You should get a delightful dog. Ooh, repeating the D sound. What is that? Is that onomatopoeia or alliteration? Yes, alliteration. So even though he says he's not learning, Jack's learning, isn't he? October 18th. Something I'm wondering. If you cannot hear what happens when you read purr, 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 or gurgle or chocolate chalk, can you somehow feel the purr, 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 the gurgle, the chocolate chalk? Did you feel the sounds instead of hear them? October 19th. The Yips, inspired by Mr. Edgar Allan Poe, by Jack. Hear the dogs with their yips, squeaky yips. What a funny squeaking sound coming from their lips. How they ripple, ripple, ripple in the shadow of a pickle. In the yip, yipulation through the air from the yip, 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 from the squeaking and the rippling of the yips. P.S. I'm not quite sure how that pickle got in there. October 22nd. If you could not hear, you wouldn't hear all those funny yip, yip, yips, but you could see the dog bouncing his head up and down, his mouth flapping, and maybe you would get the idea that he was making the same sound over and over. Maybe. But how would you even know what sound is? Lots of thoughts about not being able to hear. I wonder why. Makes me wonder if that's important in the story. October 24th. I like Maggie's buzz poem, like you put on the board on that orange paper. And yes, you can put my yip poem up there, and you can put my name on it too. In my head are so many bells and bezels and yips, and all jingling and clanking around, bumping into each other. Very noisy in my head. If you cannot hear, it must be so quiet in your head. How are your purr purr kittens? I would write a purr poem, except that I don't really like cats. Wonder if something bad happened with the cat, and that's why he's afraid of cats. Remember, he didn't want to write about a dog, and then remember, he loved his dog. But he gets sad when he thinks of his dog, so I wonder why he gets frightened when he thinks of cats. November 13th. When you read that kitten poem by Miss Valerie Worth, is she still alive? I could see that black kitten dancing sideways and leaping and crouching with her eyes round as oranges, and I could see that black kitten pouncing with her cactus claws on a piece of fluff. It made me laugh, that black kitten. It reminded me of my dog Sky, how he would dance around a skittering leaf as if it were alive, and he would cock his head and wag his tail, and scoot backwards and then yip and pounce on the fluttery leaf. He made me laugh, that Sky. And I hate to admit it, but the kittens you brought to class were not creepy. I'm not saying I like cats. Dogs are much, much better. But those kittens were fantastically funny. Alliteration. The way they were skidding around and purring. I guess I never saw a kitten up close before, only big creepy cats that looked like they would love to scratch you. November 20th. I told my dad about those furry kittens and you brought into school, and he asked me if I would like one, and I said, no, 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 no. He is coming to parent conferences tonight, and I just wanted you to know that I said, no, 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 no. Doesn't want a cat. Interesting. November 21st. Why? Because kittens grow up to be cats. And what do cats do? They play ball with you or jump on you and lick your face all slobbery kissy to show you they love, love, love you. I know one fat black cat, I hate that cat, who is meaner than mean. I hate that cat. And besides, even if you had a nice cat that you loved, it might run outside into the street and get squished by a car going fast with many, many miles to go before it sleeps. And that's a reference to a Robert Frost poem, and he talked about that in Love That Dog. But remember what happened to Sky? Remember how heartbroken? Maybe that's it. Or it could get sick, really, really sick, and never get better. Or it could run away or get lost. Those are all true things that could happen and end up somewhere else. I hope it did not hurt your feelings, but cats are cats and dogs are dogs. P.S. Thank you for saying nice things about me to my dad last night. He liked my yip poem up on the wall, and he likes you too. For true, I'm not just saying that to make you feel good. P.S.S. No, I cannot write about my mother. That would be impossible. He talks about his dad. Wonder what's going on with his mother. I think these are all hints or clues. Sometimes the author drops hints or clues. These are things that make you think, maybe. November 27th. Yes, I know that all those bad things could happen to a dog too, which is why I don't want a dog either. I already had a dog, my dog Sky, my funny, furry, smiling dog Sky. November 30th. It's strange that now when you read a poem to the class, I hear alliteration popping out everywhere. I never heard it before. Maybe I heard the sounds that I didn't know why they were sticking in my head. Yesterday, after you read the Eagle poem by Mr. Tennyson, is he still alive? Those first two lines stuck in my head. He clasps the crag with crooked hands close to the sun in lonely lands. And I could see that eagle all day long clasping the crag with his crooked hands in those lonely hands, just sitting up there watching before he falls. Boom, like a thunderbolt. Does he swoop into the sea and snatch a fish? Or like a little mousie on the hillside, or a creepy cat? Sorry, just kidding. December 4th, The Dog, inspired by Mr. Tennyson, by Jack. He pats the kitten with puffy paws near the window draped with gauze, and yawns and opens up his jaws. The wrinkled rug beneath him lies. He watches with his big black eyes, and like a lazy boy, he sighs. Well, at least the dog did not eat the kitten. December 6th. So doesn't like cats. Those kittens of yours surprised me. They got so big. And they are so funny, especially for cats. Oh, but her kittens, he liked the kittens, and now they're growing up, and kittens turn into, you got it, cats. Maybe Jack will start liking cats, you think? And that black one with the white spot on her forehead, she fell asleep right in my lap, even though I didn't pet her. Well, only a tiny bit. And she was purring while she slept, so I think she was happy. But don't get me wrong, a dog is still much better than a cat. December 11th. The Red-Headed Mailman, inspired by Mr. William Carlos Williams, by Jack. So much depends upon a red-headed mailman walking up the drive holding a blue postcard. I wonder what that's about. Did you believe the postcard I brought in? Did you believe that Mr. Walter Dean Myers, my all-time favorite poet who visited our class last year, that Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself sent me a postcard? We all know how exciting author visits are. We couldn't have an author visit, sadly, last year because of COVID, but we all know how exciting and It's just, to me, the highlight of the year. And to get a postcard later on from that author, wow, mind-blowing. How cool. I didn't believe it when I saw it. I sat right down on the steps and read it about 50 times. And do you believe that he mentioned his cat? His cat! I love that postcard. Love, love, love it. But I'm a little surprised that Mr. Walter Dean Myers has a cat. I thought he would have been a dashing dog. He would have a dashing dog, or maybe a hardy horse. He loves to use that alliteration now, doesn't he? It is hard to picture Mr. Walter Dean Myers with that cat. I hope he still likes him. Walter Dean Myers. I hope he still likes that author now. December 13th. Yes, I wrote back to Mr. Walter Dean Myers. I asked him why he likes his cat so much. I asked him if he ever thought about getting a dog. December 14th. The Bad Black Cat. I was standing at the yellow bus stop minding my own business when I heard mew, 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 like it was coming from the sky. Mew, mew, mew. And I looked up and saw a big black cat, all fluffy fur and green eyes, crouched in the tree. Mew, mew, mew. And I thought it was stuck, and so I climbed up the tree way up high to the skinny branches, and I leaned way out, and the bus was coming. I leaned out farther and grasped the black tail of that black cat, and I was so glad I caught it. I was going to save it, and it would be so relieved and grateful, and the bus was coming, and that fat black cat leaped backwards onto my head, and it scratched my ears and my neck and my face, and it hissed the most awful, spitting, horrible hiss as it scratched with claws as sharp as needles. It was probably scared, right? And I was bleeding all over the place, and the cat scrambled across my back and onto my legs and down the tree, while I lay there clinging to the branch, stinging and bleeding, and the bus passed right on by. I hate that cat. Now we understand, hopefully, right? That black cat he was trying to save was frightened and scratched him, and he's got, I bet it hurt, and he said he was bleeding, and he missed his bus. But Jack, I think you're blaming all cats because of that one experience and that one cat. And that's when we get older, we discover we don't blame everyone because of one person. We don't blame every animal because of one particular animal. We realize everyone is different, every animal is different, right? Right? All right, back to our story. December 17th. Why did the man throw the cat out the window? He wanted to hear it. Oh, he's telling a joke, sorry. Why did the man throw the cat out the window? He wanted to hear it meow. I made that up. I thought it was very funny, but maybe you won't like it. Not so much. I will try to stop saying mean things about cats. He's crossed off mean cats. December 18th. So maybe he's going to give cats a chance. I thought you were kidding when you said that Mr. Walter Dean Myers' grown-up son Christopher had written a book called Black Cat. I felt like Mr. Walter Dean Myers' whole family must be in his brain. When you started reading the book, Black Cat, cousin to the concrete, creeping down our city streets, I thought it was going to be about a mean cat, like the mean black cat that attacked me. All the words were singing in my head, and I was thinking, wow, that Mr. Christopher Myers knows about alliteration. And it turned out not to be a mean cat. It was a sauntering, sipping, and dancing ducking cat wandering through the city streets, just like a kid roaming and poking around. December 19th. I read Black Cat to my mother, tapping my fingers in the rhythm like you showed us. Hard, soft, slow, and then faster. She drew a circle with her finger, which means again, so I read it over, tapping. And then she put her hand up, stop. And I watched while she tapped the same rhythm as she turned the pages. Hard, soft, slow, and then faster. And then she closed the book and tapped her heart. Hard, soft, slow, and then faster. Wow. His mother must have really loved his poem. December 20th. When you put up that one line from the Eagle poem, he clasped the crag with crooked hands and used all those different colored chalks to show how Mr. Tennyson managed to cram in alliteration and assonance. That's repetition of vowel sounds, your A, E, I, O, U, when you repeat vowels, and consonants all in one line. Well, I was impressed, but that doesn't mean I remember which is which. And I will never be able to do all that stuff that Mr. Tennyson does. And did he know he was doing it when he did it? I feel stupid. I'm a bad writer. I'm going to quit. No, Jack. One thing we've learned from you is you are a great writer. I love how you describe things. Put your thoughts and feelings into words. I think there's a writer inside all of us. December 21st. Thank you for telling me I could forget those confusing words. And isn't knowing the words that describe writing that is important. It is the thoughts in our heads that are the most important. And that feeling, the rhythm, is even more wondrous than hearing the rhythm. And thank you for saying I am a genius, even though I know you are exaggerating. January 3rd. The Gift, inspired by Mr. William Carlos Williams by Jack. So much depends upon a black kitten in a straw basket under the Christmas tree. January 4th. My parents woke me so early and seemed in a hurry to rush me downstairs to the Christmas tree, blinking and fire crackling. And I didn't see it right away, that little straw basket tucked to one side. I was on the floor pawing through the packages when something moved. I thought maybe it was a mouse that had crept inside, and I jumped back. Not that I'm afraid of a mouse, but it wouldn't be my favorite thing to encounter in a pile of presents. And then I saw a blur of black fur, and I thought, oh no, 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 it's the fat black cat. But then a pink nose and tiny black paws and blinky sleepy eyes, a small black fur ball, not a big fat fur ball, a kitten stumbling out of the basket and wobbling over to me and crawling up on my lap and licking my pajamas, and I forgot that I hate cats as it curled up onto my chest and purred, and I was smiling all over the place. Oh, he's got a black kitten. That's so exciting, I think. January 8th, so much. Inspired by Mr. William Carlos Williams again, by Jack. So much depends upon a black kitten dotted with white beside the photo of my yellow dog. Aww, and he still has the photos, I'm sure, of his yellow dog, Sky. January 10th, my blank is like a blank. Looks like she's asked him to fill in the blanks. My blank is like a blank. I couldn't think of a simile. Similes, when you compare one thing to something else. Your room is like a pigsty. He's as mean as a snake. They have like or as in it, comparing to. My cousin is like a ticking time bomb. My little sister is like a tornado. I couldn't think of a simile. Brain broken. Can't even think of a name for the bouncing black kitten. That's how broken my brain is. I call her Kitty and Mushy and Wiggles and Flopper, but I don't have a real name for her yet. Don't tell anyone those goofy names I use, okay? They're embarrassing. January 14th. The Naming of Cats by Mr. T.S. Eliot made me laugh. Munkastrap? Bumblerina? Jelly Rum? That Mr. T.S. Eliot, is he alive? Love how he always asks that. Must like cats. And do you think it is true that cats have their own secret names that only they know? Their ineffable, effable names. Okay, I will unfreeze my brain now and write a simile, but I'm warning you, it might not be too good. The chair in my room is like a pleasantly plump mama. Like a pleasantly plump mama. Remember, you're comparing two things using like or the words like or as. January 17th. Go on. Tell why that chair is like a pleasingly plump mama. That chair in my room is like a pleasingly plump mama, big and squishy with stuffing poking out. It is over there in the corner, sitting quietly, silently, waiting for me to come and jump in her lap and bring a book or two or a blanket when I'm sick. Remember, he did mention his mom and how she loved the poem, but now he doesn't want to talk about her. But now he's starting to write about her or being gone. I wonder what's going on. That plump mama chair just sits there waiting for me. While she waits, she looks a little lonely, to tell you the truth. She used to have a dog jump into her lap when I wasn't home, but all that is left of my good yellow dog are pieces of his fur stuck here and there. And now there is a kitten, but the kitten doesn't like the yellow chair half as much as she likes my pillow. January 24th. After tremendous tugging at my broken brain, I finally dug up a metaphor. Metaphor is the same thing as a simile, only you leave out the word like. Instead of saying my cousin is like a tornado, you say my cousin is a tornado. Instead of this room is like a pigsty, you say this room is a pigsty, which means it's really messy. Instead of he is mean as a snake, you say he is a snake. That's your lesson. It's about the kitten who now has a name, Skitter McKitter, because that's what she does. Skitter here, skitter there, skitter everywhere. Ready for the metaphor? The Black Kitten. The Black Kitten is a poet leaping from line to line, sometimes running rapidly, sometimes soothing slowly, here and there, up and down. Down and up, in a silent, steady rhythm, exploring all the tiny pieces of the world. January 31st. Well, no, don't put it on the board because now that I read it again, it doesn't make sense. I know what I was trying to say, but I didn't get it right. The kitten is a poet. It's something I feel, but I can't get it into words. A good poet will be able to paint with words things that you can feel but don't know how to say. It's sort of like when my mother puts one hand on my back and one hand on my chest to hear me laughing or to feel me laughing, because then she understands what my laughing sounds like and feels like. Remember, he was wondering what it's like to not hear, and he wondered, could you hear it? And now he's talking about his mother. She can see me laugh and she can sign the word for laugh, but she cannot hear the laugh. We're right. His mother must be hearing impaired, or maybe she's deaf and has never been able to hear. Sometimes deaf people were born that way, and sometimes they become deaf. And so they have different associations and different things happen. So I don't want to act like they're all the same. But his mother, it's about his mother. Yesterday, she put one hand on Skitter's back and one hand on her stomach so she could hear the purr. Ooh, because you could hear it. Couldn't you feel the rumble? And maybe she's trying to feel what that rumble sound in her stomach would match that. Interesting. I cannot explain a purr, just like I cannot explain why the kitten is a poet, but she is, and I cannot explain how my mother paints words with her hands, but she does. And I cannot explain how, when we paint words with each other, I hear sounds, but I do not know if she hears anything. Any strange or amazing, or good or terrible, or sparkling or fizzing sound at all. February 7th. So much depends upon hands waving in the air, making words without sounds. So her mother signs. She knows sign language, and so she can create the sounds and the words in the air. And I love that poem that he made. February 11th, My Yellow Chair by Jack. Oh, see how it looks like a chair? He had an example of that in the last book. Sometimes poems can look what the subject matter is. Low chair, yellow chair, yellow chair, yellow chair, yellow chair, yellow chair. Soft, squishy, soft, squishy, soft, squishy, soft, squishy, soft, little hole, squishy, soft, squishy, silent, rounded arm, squishy, soft, arm, squishy, squishy, yellow, fishy, square, leg, 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 leg. February 14th, Happy Valentine's Day! I like when you said we could try turning the metaphors upside down or inside out, and I like when you use my chair poem as an example. So, instead of saying the chair is like a pleasingly plump mama, we could try my chair is like a pleasingly plump chair. Except that now everyone thinks my mother is very plump and looks like a chair. And it doesn't mean the same when you turn them around, because while the chair is a lot like a plump mama, my own mother is like so much more than a chair. True. February 21st. Oh, well. Oh, okay, I will try it. Here goes. My mother is like a plump chair, all squishy, soft, and huggy when you sit in her lap. Just so you know, I'm too old to sit in her lap. I'm just saying this for the poem. Her arms hold you in so you won't fall and will feel safe. And she has sturdy legs, although I want to make it clear that my real mother has 2 legs, not 4, and a straight back. She is proud, but not too proud, and she is there waiting for me, always quietly waiting for me. End of poem. So here's the problem. My real mother can't always be waiting for me because she works at night, and my mother doesn't sit in the same place day in and day out like a chair does. She was always moving, 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 her hands waving in the air, talking to us with those hands. Oh, so she's not around as much as he would like for her to be because she has to work. And she isn't plump at all, like I said. She has 2 legs, not floor. And so really, she is not very much like a chair at all. I will never be a real poet. And we are going to stop right there. I know, I hate to stop. Oh my goodness. So we're learning things about Jack, aren't we? I want to know what you think. How you think it's going to turn out? Is he going to eventually, does he love the cat he has? Or is he going to be able to see his mother more? Is he ever going to think of himself as a poet? Let me know. I want to know your thoughts. I love, love, love it when you email me. Take care, everyone, and I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.